Innovation is becoming the new currency for growth. For Vietnam, it's no longer optional, it's a necessity. Resolution 57 of the Politburo highlights innovation as one of the key breakthroughs driving Vietnam's growth in this new development phase. So how can Vietnam turn innovation into a real growth engine and ensure ambitions becomes action? We'll find out more in Crosstalk, but first let's learn how the country has included innovation in its agenda in the following clip.
In December 2024, the Politburo issued Resolution 57, identifying breakthroughs in science, technology, innovation, and digital transformation as top strategic priorities. The resolution calls for removing institutional barriers, reforming regulations, and investing in human capital. It also targets dedicating 3% of the national budget to innovation and digital transformation, and raising R&D spending in the years ahead. But despite these ambitions, the World Bank's latest assessment finds Vietnam still faces major structural gaps. R&D spending is only 0.4% of GDP, 1/5 the upper middle income average. Skills shortages persist, especially in emerging sectors like semiconductors, while weak links between foreign and domestic firms limit technology transfer. Infrastructure for advanced research also lags behind needs.
And to delve deeper into the topic, we have joined today by Ms. Tran Anh Nguyet, economist at the World Bank Vietnam Education Global Practice. Thank you for joining us today. First, Resolution 57 and the World Bank recent report emphasize talent and innovation. From your perspective, how does this align with Vietnam's broader ambitions to develop strategic industry like AI, green energy, or semiconductors?
Thank you for that great questions. And first thing, happy to join you today. I could say that from our perspective, whether it's AI, semiconductor, or green technologies, the essential ingredients are almost the same for Vietnam or any other country. The first one would be talent. The second ingredient is a thriving innovation ecosystem, and the third one is a very deep, strong linkages between global firms and local firms and strong local enterprises. Resolution 57, together with recently issued Resolution 68 or Resolutions 71, have prioritized education, innovations, and the private sector as the national priority. And the World Bank, we completely aligned with that directions of Vietnam. We see that's the way to go for Vietnam if we want to achieve the high income status in 20 years.
The biggest challenge we were talking about is the talent gap, and both in quantity and in depth of expertise. What are the most urgent steps Vietnam should take to build a high-quality semiconductor workforce by 2030?
The first priority in terms of talent gap is really to scale up advanced training. Let's take an example. In Vietnam, we are aspiring to move up to the chip design segment of the semiconductor value chains. In the advanced market like Israel, South Korea, or the United States, almost 1/3 of the skilled workforce need to have postgraduate education, meaning at least master or PhD. The current supply of the Vietnam market is around 4%. That's the first priority. The second priority is how to bring back and retain the 65% of Vietnam diaspora in very tech frontier areas that currently working overseas. Now, two steps that I see that can help to close that gaps. The first one is to offer proper incentives for scientists, for engineers to work in Vietnam. I mean, at least salary and benefits, either in the private sector or in universities or research labs. That's one. The second step is really to create a thriving environment where they can thrive and give them the labs, the projects, then the infrastructures and facility where they can conduct the research and translate their ideas into products.
So from a global experience, what policy frameworks are most effective in linking universities, research institute, and industry to accelerate strategic sectors?
Here you mentioned a very, very critical part of the innovation ecosystem. It is so-called the triple helix between university, the government, and the private sector. University can anchor research and talent, firm commercialize research and innovations, and government provides the enabling environment for them. I would share one idea, such so-called the technopolis or ideopolis, which is basically you can imagine it as science towns or research towns or technology hubs, where the three entities co-locate and cluster together. And it is the very first step to create that the environment needed for scientists and engineering talent to thrive. It's a place where they can co-design curricula, they can conduct joint research projects and share infrastructures. When these linkages are strong, talent is relevant, ideas move quickly from labs to the market, and then innovation ecosystem can grow and nurture firms, startups into unicorns. ESA now have 34 out of 100 global top innovation clusters.
How important is shared infrastructures in helping startups and university catch up in the semiconductor race?
So shared infrastructures is really essential here. Breakthroughs in semiconductors require access to expensive design tools, prototyping lines, and advanced lab. In our current situations or conditions, no single university or startup can afford those facilities alone on their own. And so that's why countries that succeed have created national design hubs, share facilities where researchers, students, and company can have access all together to those cutting edge. And this lower cost, the benefits of this is that it lower cost, it accelerates the lab to fab journey, and it gives students and faculty real hands-on industry experience.
And Vietnam is working to attract more FDI in high-tech sectors. What role do you see for multinational corporations, and how can Vietnam position itself as not just a manufacturing hub, but also a knowledge hub?
So in here, I see multiple roles for multinational firms. So the first one is on building up to support Vietnam in building our talent base. In this one, those MNC can surely cooperate with universities, with the government in, for example, like in co-design the curricula for training. Second, they can co-design the something called like the professional conversions program. These programs are essential for country like Vietnam during the transitions. We have very good engineering and scientist base for industry like electronics or electrical equipments, and these are very precious supply. The scientists and engineers in this industry can be converted into and upgrade their skills so that they can work in the semiconductor industry. That's the experience Singapore has done in the past. And so that's one. The second thing is they can co-fund the research and development projects with universities, research institute, and firms in Vietnam. And the third role is to help the local firms to, so a certain group of MNC firms can actually support local firms, mentor them, not just become the suppliers, but actually the co-innovators, conduct joint research, use more local talent, and then upgrade the local workforce. And that help, it is a win-win strategies, help both the MNC, but also the local firms to thrive. So that's the three roles I can see for MNCs in Vietnam.
Now let's talk in a broader picture. With global uncertainty, from trade tension to technological shift, what opportunity does Vietnam have to leap forward into a higher value segment of the semiconductor chain?
In our recent report on semiconductor talent and innovation for Vietnam, we see the three opportunity windows for Vietnam very clearly. The first one is to grow the back-end design, where Vietnam already have established certain foothold in the global market. The second one, and which offer the highest value additions in the global value chains, would be to move up or leapfrog to front-end design. But of course, it comes with huge investment in talent, as I say at the beginning. Then share facilities, infrastructures for research and development, and the third one is technology advance. Then the third opportunity for Vietnam is to move up on advanced packagings, and in here Vietnam also have has already some base to move up. Intel and Amkor, the two global semiconductor giant, already open facilities, very first facilities that will conduct the advanced packagings in Vietnam, and that's very positive signals. Yeah.
And in general, what are recommendations for Vietnam to turn innovation in general and strategic industries into a boost for long-term development?
It is, I think, multi-billions dollars questions. I think we could hardly have one answers for that questions, but the first thing I could say is that the directions Vietnam has set recently is the right one. So we have set innovations, the private sector, international integrations, and education as national priorities, as the economic growth drivers. That's the way to go. And it's really hardly contestable in any growth model that we have seen in successfully implemented in other countries. So let's say if there is anything else I could offer, I could think like it's a combination of all these four factors together, and say instead of thinking of them as separate elements, it's very critical. And as I shared at the beginning, for us to grow, let's say for example, for us to grow talent, it needs the innovation ecosystem to thrive. It needs the private sector to offer the jobs and the opportunity for the talents to work and to stay in Vietnam. It needs the international integrations, because right now we are here in the middle, in the center of the global science and technology clusters of the world. And so we would take it is a very critical opportunity for Vietnam at this moment, and it would take the whole nation effort, the whole government approach to materialize and to push Vietnam futures forward in the next 20 years and reach our high income aspirations.
Once again, thank you for joining our program today.